Jule Brown. Just graduated from NYU, from the Philadelphia area, Lower Marion Township. It's been a crazy sort of year, finishing up school, given all the things that are going on in the country and around the world. I'm just happy to be finished and happy to be done. Junior year, the end, closing into May, I received an offer from the University of Pennsylvania. That's right in my backyard. It almost felt like a no-brainer to me. So I committed my junior year in May. Big moment for me. Being from the Philadelphia area and wanting to play in the Big Five and play at the Palestra, that would have been, that was very important to me, and I thought it would be a great opportunity. So committed. Obviously, that's very early, given that junior year, summer, going into your senior year is July live period. So it was kind of nice to have that recruitment be over with. And then fast forward to March, my senior year, Coach Allen was fired. And then a couple weeks later, I ended up decommitting. And then from there, I had a few Division I offers. I could have gone the prep school route, but I think to me, it was important to just get to school. I'd done my 4 years of high school. I didn't really want to go the prep school route because I felt like I would have been more comfortable going to school. I was ready for college. And so instead of going to prep school, I decided to go the Division III route. Looked at a couple schools, but I felt my connection with Coach Soretti at Dickinson, plus my middle school and high school teammate Corey Sherman had committed there. So I felt like that would be, a great spot for me to go and, again, have that balance between academics and athletics, and just to have sort of a better idea of who I wanted to be as a person and, my post-career journey. So in terms of financial aid, I definitely don't think I was prepared. Me personally wasn't prepared. But I think my mom just gave me the confidence to, choose wherever I wanted to go. And that's always how it's been. She's always been very supportive of me. And it's just whatever we have to do, we'll get it done. So when in considering Penn, I didn't really think too much about the financial aid aspect. I knew that a scholarship wasn't, athletic scholarship wasn't a thing. But I definitely would say that, I wasn't as prepared. And even, choosing a school like Dickinson, I really didn't understand what financial aid was, or neither. I had a slight idea, but it's not just really told to you, and you don't really know it until you see the paperwork and you kind of see, okay, these loans or federal loans, whatever the case may be. So I definitely felt like I was behind in that respect. But again, my mom just made me feel very comfortable in saying hey, where you need to go and whatever you think the right school is for you, I'm here to support you. And so that gave me some confidence and gave me the, the courage to kind of pick whatever school I really wanted to choose. Yeah, so at the start, I think for me, having gone through the whole decommitment from Penn, that was tough for me. I was very sad. I had been committed for almost a year, and then, to decommit, it's just that's where I really wanted to go. And so when, Dickinson sort of came in late, and, the financial package that I got was great, and people in admissions were very helpful. Coach Soretti was very helpful. So I think once I got there, I was just very excited to, be somewhere and have a place to call home. And, I enjoyed it. I definitely made a lot of connections and people that are my best friends to this day. But also in the back of my mind, I'm not gonna lie, I still had the, Penn in the back of my mind. That's where I was set on going, and playing at a Division I level had always been my dream. And so being at Dickinson, I would definitely say that my focus may not have been 100%, just because you're a young 17, 18-year-old kid, and things changed so quickly from where I thought I was going to now this different place. And I think that definitely had an impact on my play on the floor and how I communicated. So, getting into my sophomore year, not easy, definitely not easy, but we ended up making it into the championship game. Lost to sophomore, and I swear I wish I could get that one back. But I think after that, I really thought to myself, okay, like, who do you want to be? And what do you want out of this thing? Because, again, basketball, it stops at some point. I always had these aspirations to be in sports and work in sports marketing, and whether it's from an agency side or a brand side, but specifically working in basketball, working with people who look like me and players who look like me that have been through this whole, athletic journey. I had to take that into consideration. And so I kind of got together a list of some schools, places and cities where I felt like I could take the next step in sort of having my dream come to fruition. And New York was the first place that stood out to me. So I ended up applying to transfer. That was definitely tough because you're still at Dickinson and you still have teammates and you still have coaches. So, you don't want to be a distraction. I ended up getting accepted, and I think when I did get accepted, it was a great feeling. But then I had to call my mom. I was like, hey, I feel like I can do 2 more years here because it was comfortable. It was definitely very comfortable, and I felt like I could do 2 years. We got into the championship. I felt like unfinished business, but she kind of encouraged me. She was like, New York City and NYU, you don't get that opportunity ever, maybe. And so I think she kind of knew that that was the place for me. And for me personally, I needed to be in that fire in New York City. I needed to be in Manhattan. I needed to, to learn and grow. I needed to step out of my comfort zone. And, if this is something I really wanted to do, I felt like New York was the best place for me to sort of, have my dreams come true. And so, I made that decision to transfer. Definitely wasn't easy. But I still feel like in order to be the best version of yourself, you need to be in an environment where, that environment brings the best out of you. I think I remember when we had our elite camp for sort of prospective players, and I was asked to work, and so from Philly, so took the train up there, took the subway down to West 4th Street, and I remember walking up those steps, getting off at West 4th, seeing the court, and I'm thinking to myself, I feel like I just got dropped from the sky. But then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking this is where I want to be, and so it felt comfortable from the start. I felt like I could breathe. I felt like that was the environment, that I was made for. And so being in Manhattan it's an animal. It's definitely an animal. I won't lie to you. There were some times where I was I feel alone. I feel isolated. NYU doesn't really have a campus per se. It's just you kind of step outside and you're with the rest of New York City. But then again, I knew that this was the place that was going to help me grow as a person. And so it just was truly a great experience. And then, from the basketball side, obviously being in the UAA and getting to travel and getting to fly and things like that, that was great in itself. But also, we didn't have a gym. And so we take the subway to practice. We take the subway to games, whether that's at Hunter College, 68th and Lexington, or the Brooklyn facility. That was difficult in itself. It's a lot getting on the subway with the rest of the city, and you got to go practice, and you have to come back, and you're not really able to get shots up. You're sharing a gym with the rest of the NYU community, so definitely difficult. But again, I knew I had goals in mind, and I knew I had people behind me who were really rooting for me. So I feel like that made me more comfortable, sort of taking on Manhattan, being 21. I just felt like that place was right for me. But I've always enjoyed writing. I don't really know where it came from, but I guess it's sort of the idea of storytelling is very important for me. Like as an only child, like there's not really a lot of people to talk to. I mean, other than your parents. But I guess for me, writing has always been my outlet. And I just always kept it with me growing up, whether it's writing papers or before my last game of the year, I kind of had an idea that I wanted to write a piece and kind of reflect on my basketball journey and what the game has meant to me and sort of the people who helped me along the way. So I think that was my first sort of big piece. And it was just a way for me to say thank you, because the game has just put me in touch with so many great people and friends and people I call my family for the rest of my life. So I think writing is huge. I feel like student athletes in particular, it's so important for them to have outlets, because it's pretty much all, you go to practice, you go to games, and then you come back and then you just do that all over again. But rarely do we get the chance to express ourselves outside of that and talk about things other than basketball or whatever sport that you play. I just feel like it's so important for athletes in general to have that creative outlet, because we sit with our thoughts a lot, and it's always like, all right, have that next play mindset, like you shouldn't let these things affect you, but it's a lot. It is a lot. It's not easy doing 4 years of being a college athlete. So I think what's next for me is just trying to find a way to bridge that gap and sort of provide other athletes, student athletes, with that sort of outlet, because I think it's highly important. And we can't keep these things in forever. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to most after now that I graduated. After I graduated, I was looking for an internship opportunity, because I think, to me, like, when people graduate, it's like, all right, well, I'm done, I accomplished something. But I think for me, it's always been about the work and helping out, but getting some more experience and some more work experience and some more marketing experience. So I found this company through a podcast, Court to Corporate, and the founder, Jasmine, went on and sort of expressed that there was an internship available. And so the idea of Round 21 is basically the intersection of art and sport, and sort of bridging that gap and kind of celebrating those from those two different realms and sort of bringing them together, and using ping pong as sort of a like a social unifier. So we're really making custom ping pong paddles, and just sort of collaborating with other artists and having them use the ping pong paddle as a canvas. So it's been great sort of helping that get off the ground. Got some really cool projects coming up that I'm really looking forward to. And then I would say most recently, the Sideline Post, Kayla Padilla plays basketball at Penn. She started this platform, exactly what I was just talking about, giving student athletes that platform, giving them a voice to express themselves through creative pieces, writing pieces. So, I just joined, starting out as sort of a writer and doing player outreach, but that's just a side thing that I wanted to help out with, because I really identify with the message, and again, it's just so important for student athletes to express themselves. An organization near and dear to my heart is Philly Youth Basketball, a nonprofit in the city of Philadelphia that just sort of aims to give young people in the city of Philadelphia a chance to make something of themselves. So from a tutoring standpoint, with using basketball as an underpinning. So summer 2018, I served as an intern and started a writing platform along with my other intern, Greg, similar to the Players Tribune. And sort of the purpose for that is we wanted to give young people that voice and that opportunity to express themselves, because even as a kid, like, kids are going through a lot of things that don't often get hurt just because they're young, and people may not stop and think like, even though they are young, they're battling things as well, especially our youth in the inner cities. It's a battle getting up every day. So I thought that was important for us to start that platform and give sort of the young people in our Philly youth basketball community that platform, but also the older adults or college students, whatever, that voice on that platform. So I've always been very conscious about what goes on, but again, there's a lot more work to be done, and I'm looking forward to figuring out where I fit best and how I can make an impact. I feel like kids are under a lot of pressure today. Social media is a big part of that, and everything's being filmed, and you get a look at what's going on around the country and who's on this list, who's featured on this video, social media, who's getting videos, who's getting likes, who's getting blue checks and things like that. So I guess my advice is just, only you know what's best for you, but it's so important to have your own path and just understand that, there is no competing with other people. Obviously, you compete on the court, but it's just so important that these kids understand that it's about you. You can't do these things for other people or what other people may think or may say. I know that's very difficult, but I guess my advice would be you have to follow your own path, and only you know which way you need to go. But it can't be for other people. It can't be for the likes. It can't be for the social media, because again, the ball stops bouncing at some point, and you kind of want to situate yourself in an environment where you're appreciated, you understand your worth, but it has to be authentic, and it can't be for other people. As long as your family is happy, I think that's the most important thing, but you personally have to be happy with the place that you're at. And I just think it's very important that these kids know that it doesn't have to be for other people. It's about you. You're going to the school, you're playing at the school, not for your likes, not for social media, but for you, and getting the most out of that. I guess, given my experience, it didn't turn out necessarily the way I planned, but I think that's the beauty of it. You can't possibly go through life and have everything just be checked off and go the way it's supposed to. I think that's helped me grow as a human being, and some of the losses that I've faced, some of the hard times I've had, I think it's just made me, it's helped me grow as a human being. And again, I've always understood that once the game stops, there's gonna have to be another way for you to make something of yourself. And again, it's just so important that we leave this place better than we found it, and we are inspiring young people. We are inspiring people who don't look like us, and we're listening, learning, we're being compassionate, we're having empathy and things like that. So through all the hardships, I feel like I've grown, and I think it's up to me now to pass that down to people who are younger than me, and show them that it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have this sort of great social following, or you don't have to go to the highest Division I school. You just go to the place that fits right for you. And as long as you are a good human being and you're doing things for others, and you're inspiring others, I think that's the most important thing, regardless of what level of sport you play.